stopping by the channel where we are reimagining life at any age and at any stage. And guess what? At this age, we are learning to not sweat the small stuff. So if you have gotten to that point where you are not sweating the small stuff, you are not getting in a whole kerfuffle over the little things, this video is definitely for you. Or if you are learning to get to that point, this video is definitely for you. Because you know what? I did a whole video yesterday and I felt like, well, when I went back and watched it, right? I felt like the audio was not good, right? I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was connected to the car. I don't know what I did. All right. Whatever it was, the audio, in my opinion, was not very good. Although topic was really good. It was, oh, I forgot the topic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, again, we are not sweating the small stuff. Because at first I was like, okay, do I do the whole video over again? You know, do I take the topic and remix it and do it all over again? And then I thought about it. I was like, no, because at this stage in life, we are no longer letting the little things just take us out. So what? You messed up. So what? Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Dust yourself off and move on to the next thing, right? And when you do it the next time, you do it better. You just take a note from whatever it was that you felt like you messed up on or with or in, and you use that to catapult yourself to the next thing and the next thing in a better way. See, when we get to this age and this stage, we realize we can't get so caught up in the small things, and we cannot get caught up in the perfectionist trap. That's another thing that keeps us bound, keeps us stuck, keeps us from moving forward because we feel like everything's got to be so perfect. The lighting's got to be perfect. The situation has to be perfect. The look has to be perfect. Hey, Jonathan, how are you? Everything, we feel like everything has to be perfect before we can get a certain thing done. And it does not. So what? On to the next thing. Don't stay stuck on what you possibly did wrong. Because here's the thing. Sometimes people don't even notice. Sometimes people don't even notice that you messed up. And even if it is something where people have recognized that you messed up, so what? You're human. So what? You're human. You cannot get stuck in that moment. You have to be able to keep going. You have to be able to bounce back, especially in this season where there's so much out there, there's so much going on, and there are so many opportunities for you to either get it right, get it wrong, be somewhere in the middle. You just get up every single day and put your best foot forward. Again, I thought the topic of the video was pretty good. I thought the content of the video was pretty good. But when I went back and listened to it, I realized, oh my goodness, I think obviously I must have been connected to the car when I was recording because the audio, in my opinion, the audio sounded horrible. So now, normally in the past, what would I have done? I would have taken that video down. I would have gotten all in my head about it. I would have been all upset and thrown off. And that's what we do with life. That's what we do in everyday situations. And we get so caught up in the perfectionist trap that we don't necessarily move to the next step of what we need to do. And usually the next step is just to continue on, to keep going, to improve with the next motion or the next movement. See, here's the thing. At this age and at this stage, we are reimagining life. Like literally, we can create our life to be whatever it is that we want at this stage, right? But in creating that life, first, in our own minds and in our own heads, we have to decide that, you know, what we're doing, how we're doing it, we're giving it our best shot. We're giving it our all, if, even if we mess up a little bit, because that's life. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes you make a mistake. So what? You messed up. Keep going. It's all right. Dust yourself off. And what I've learned too is that when you do that, it helps you, in a way, regulate your nervous system. Now, I don't know if you've been studying this, but you should. Nervous system regulation is part of what keeps you in that fight or flight mode, right? And when we mess up, or if we make a mistake, or do something wrong, or it's not as perfect as we want it to be, the way our nervous systems are set up, it will get us all in a tizzy. It will get us all in a tizzy. But oh, when we do the work. Oh, when we do the work. And what I mean by doing the work is when we do the work to regulate our nervous system, to calm ourselves down, to keep ourselves calm in the mind, the body, our heart. Then when we make those tiny mistakes, when we mess up a little bit, then it's easier for us to say, okay, so what? Let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on to the next thing, right? And that whole nervous system regulation, it's not a small feat. So we're not going to lie and pretend that it's a small feat, because it's not. But it is a small feat when you think of the grand scheme of things. If you really think about it and you say, okay, if I can regulate my nervous system to the point where things don't just take me out the box every time they happen, they don't just knock me off my horse every time something happens, they don't take me out the game every time something happens, then putting in the work to, make sure you're staying calm, make sure you're staying, you're having a positive outlook, you're talking to yourself properly, the way you talk to other people about yourself, about them, about life, about your work, just whatever it is. When you get to the point where you are seriously focused on having that nervous system regulated, then again, going back to the small things, we are learning where the small things, yes, they matter. Yes, they matter. But in the grand scheme of things, they're not just taking us out the ballpark when they happen. Again, you messed up. So what? Keep going. Move on to the next thing. If you're going to conquer, if you're going to be a hero in your own life, if you're going to change the narrative of your own life, if you're going to really excel when it comes to leveling up, if you're really going to change the trajectory of your own life, the first thing you have to do is realize things happen. Things happen. Life is going to do what life does. And sure, recording a video and the audio not working, that's a small thing. But you can absolutely compare that to the bigger things in life. You can compare that to maybe a mistake you made on the job. Maybe a mistake you made in choosing something. Maybe a mistake you made inside of a relationship. Maybe it's a mistake you made when it comes to maybe a financial decision. Hey, how are you? Maybe it was a mistake you made, you know, it doesn't matter what the mistake is. It doesn't matter how big, how small. You messed up. So what? Life keeps going, and we cannot get caught in this cycle, this trap of perfectionism. Oh, I see people arriving at work. We cannot get caught in this trap of perfectionism that keeps us from moving forward and winning big. You never know how big the win is going to be on the other side of that tiny mistake that you made. You never know, because the lesson that you just learned in making that mistake might just be the setup for a huge comeback. That tiny little mistake you made might just be the setup that you needed for a huge, huge comeback. You just never know. So we've got to get out of our heads. We've got to get out of our heads. We've got to regulate our nervous system to where, we don't react all whacked out after we've made a mistake. Because like I said, after I went back and I listened to the video, I was like, oh my gosh, we don't get all whacked out after we make a mistake. We just learn from it and allow that to set us up for the next moment. Allow that little mistake to set you up. Huge, huge, huge. So I don't know who this is for. And I don't know what kind of mistakes you've made in your life. Big, small, somewhere in between. But if you messed up in anything, so what? So what? Keep going. Because again, we are reimagining life at any age and at any stage. And if you make it to this age, because I need all my fabulous 50s to tap in, when you make it to this age, you realize that we are not going to sweat the small stuff. All right? Y'all have a fabulous day. I've got to run. Make sure you comment, like, and make sure you hit subscribe. All right? Love you guys. Have an amazing day. All right? It's your girl, Felicia. Until the next video.